Um, grant funding. I did want to talk about that one because you guys have received grant funding for the game, which is really cool.
Yes.
So I guess
Screen Australia.
I
Yep.
guess for anyone who's curious about like how you would apply for that and sort of what it entails to get grant funding, like what sort of if you receive it, like obviously different places are going to have different things, but with Screen Australia, like are there some sort of requirements you have now that you've received the funding, or how does that sort of work?
So the easiest way to apply for it is to obviously go to their website. They have like intakes where they get funding every. I think they give out funding every 2 times or 3 times a year, something like that.
Mm.
And you apply for it in one of those intakes. And I think you can apply 2 or 3 times with the same game, and then that's done. So everyone applies differently. Everyone wants something different out of their funding.
Mm.
It's not a clean answer of,
Right.
oh, we want this or we want that. So most people say, look, we are making this a particular type of game. For us, it was a game about Tasmania with the guy with anxiety and all this stuff, and we would like funding to help with our own wages to make the game, and that's where we went with that kind of thing.
Mm.
And so when you're presenting your case to Screen Australia, you've got to specify what your goals are, and they could be like, we want to make a vertical slice, and we want the money to spend the next 6 months making a vertical slice. So then we can present that to a publisher, and then that could be your goal. For us, it was to build a whole game, and at this point in time, we were already a fair chunk of the way through the game, and we wanted some money to help us finish the game because we were running out of our own personal fund, kind of thing. So we had something pretty good to share with them in regards to what our game looked like. I guess if you've got no game to show and you're just saying, hey, it looks like this mixed with this, and it's probably going to be more challenging.
Sure.
To kind of present that. Having like a little demo of some sort is probably always a nice thing, so they can understand that. And then we had, and then our commitments are now to release the game, obviously, and depending on what goals you put in place. So if you put 5 goals in of, we're gonna by like say by the end of the year we're going to have our demo ready, so then you might get your first payment after that, or you might you get payments based on the goals that you put down, and then as you achieve those goals you'll get payments for that side of it. So it's they're very helpful, and I mean I think it's really helped. Maybe Light Haze World isn't going to be successful. I don't know. If it is, if it isn't, but one thing I'm sure of that Screen Australia has definitely helped me with is getting into the games industry a lot further. It's helped me focus on my game, but then also it's kind of introduced me to some different connections and things like that have helped me. So when the next game is in development or done, I know what I'm trying to do with that game. And I guess that's kind of a big part of it as well. It's not just about, I guess it gives you a bit more freedom. So then all of a sudden you can actually, you're not working 9 to 5 and you're trying to build a game on the side. You got some funding, so you've got a little bit more room to extend yourself, I guess, as well. There are things that I've got to do well, I don't have to do, but I've been invited to do a science thing on how funding affects the game industry, where I have to go and talk to some like researchers, and they're kind of trying to figure out what if the funding is good or bad, and I don't know, all that kind of stuff. I don't know exactly. I haven't done it yet, so that's next week. Things like that I get invited to. They GCAP, they invited me last year. They put us into GCAP, the game in there, and then they let me have a ticket for GCAP because I had the game in there. Little things like that help bring your game to help. So it's not just, for me, it wasn't just the funding, it was all the extra little bits as well. Like the funding was a big part, but also the other side of it as well that really helped me grow as a developer. And all of a sudden, I don't feel like I'm just starting off as a game developer anymore. When I first got funding, I felt like I was just starting off. Now I feel like I'm in the games industry. I guess is that a long-winded answer of everything? But yeah, that's how I feel.
So with the funding, what has that actually enabled you to do? Like, now that is a thing, now that you have that, like, what couldn't you do before that now that you have it is possible?
Well, the biggest thing was that before I was working a part-time job. Now I'm not working a part-time job because I replaced that with a wage from the funding. That's pretty much funding-wise. That was a biggest part of what happened for me. It's like I said before, it's getting like meeting a lot of people that you probably necessarily wouldn't have met. Like they will help you like steer you down some paths of, hey, this event's on this weekend. Would you like to go to this event? Because they're also helping out with some funding for that particular event or something like that. They're involved with an event and this is available for you if you'd like to. Or you might not have even known about some stuff that they help you learn about. So that's the other side of the funding. But yeah.
So at this stage,
sorry, I forgot to say one thing you have to do as your requirement.
Okay.
And this is kind of really cool. Once the game is finished, you have to submit it into the game database in Canberra.
Right.
I didn't even know there was a game database thing in Canberra. So all these games, once they are finished, especially if they get Screen Australia funding, that's part of the requirement, is to put these games into this kind of time capsule of Australian games.
Okay.
And yeah, and then they just like, I don't know, if you go, the big part is if you come to like some places in Melbourne, there's like a game, say they put the museum puts on a games from the 90s type thing. They might draw from this catalogue and then, in 10 years time, they might put Light Haze World into some gallery as a remember this historical event when Light Haze World released, but this is their drawings and this is their artwork from then, and this is some of the old stuff of the game before, way back when. And yeah, so that I just found I get to be kind of in this time capsule, which, like, to me, that's really, really cool.
No, that is super cool. At this stage, and maybe it's hard to commit to something exactly, how much longer would you hope to be working on the game? Like, when would you like it to be?
Hope, or I'd like to release tomorrow.
Okay,
if my dreams are true.
with the current plan you have, like, worst case scenario, how long do you think the game is from being done?
So, I think I put a post up yesterday saying for the first time ever, I've built a test demo with every single level there. So we've been testing all the levels, like you test them in Unity as you're building the game, and we've tested them rigorously like that. But for now, I'm testing if you go and do all this stuff in level 1, does it do what it's supposed to do when you get to level 5?
Does everything link together as a full game? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's right, but you got to play through the game about 400 times to just check it in different scenarios. If I didn't do this and I get to this part, did that bit do what it's supposed to do in that part? And yeah, that once we get through that, then I think we'll be making a announcement on the release date soon, and that's something we've been working towards. It's just been a little bit slower than we ever anticipated. Every level has been made by us going into Blender, making a whole level, then we put it into the game, we test if everything. One thing that I didn't want to do is have it so you have like that weird cutout when you run behind a tree and you see like a shader around. I don't love that because I feel like it takes you out of the environment. Like if we're running through the bush together and you run behind a tree, I'm not going to see you. I'm not going to see a cutout of you behind a tree. So I like the idea, but to do that, we have to have you have to test playing through all the levels and imagining and like just seeing what happens when you go walk around the level. Where does the camera cut out? Where does the camera go? And that's been like a bit of a time sink as well, but testing out the levels to check that the camera shows you what we want you to see. Basically, we've come. The rule for the game, remembering back to my rules, is that the character can go off screen for 1 second without being visually there. But ideally, if you move a millimeter either way, you'll see part of the character.
Right.
So the designing levels around that can take time because you're testing how long you're going behind items. You have like walls that are only like a certain height just so you can just see his hair run behind the wall right up against the wall. And so yeah, that's been a bit of a time sink, but most of the levels have been designed for a long time, but we're just testing all those camera angles and stuff. So yeah.